Welcome back everyone to Pontos, Fathom Hobbies. This is Season 16 of Eldritch Horror, and we are playing the Cities in Ruin expansion. I'm just going to fast forward here through the initial board setup, get the cards out, get our player characters out, get the great old ones out, and so I'm picking 3 characters out here. I've got a great old one. We're going to play yog-sothoth this round. We haven't played Cities in Ruin for quite some time, so I thought I'd come back to Eldritch Horror, play around with Cities in Ruin. I really like this mechanic. The Cities in Ruin has the idea of as the earthquakes, natural disasters are happening across the earth, and that's part of the active mystery. So let's get into it. We'll fast forward through the rest of this, and we'll jump right into gameplay. Quick shout out before you guys jump into the setup. Like and subscribe, leave a message. Check out our bookstore link below. Our channel is not monetized, so your support helps. And we also have a Patreon below. So really thank you guys who are subscribed and supporting us on Patreon. Let's get into the rest of the setup. Okay, let's continue with the setup for Cities in Ruin expansion, Season 16 of Eldritch Horror. We'll start out with introducing our characters. First off, we've got our great old one, yog-sothoth. Yog-sothoth, he has many names and wears many faces. He alone of the outer gods walks the earth, the puppet master, pulling strings of 1,000 cults, wearing the mask of 1,000 gods. So we've got yog-sothoth as our great old one. We've got the Doom track set to 12 per his Doom track. Let's introduce our characters and their quests. First, we have Ashcan Pete. He starts off in Scandinavia, which is 14. Ever since the outset of his prophetic dreams, Pete has been riding the rails with his old hound Duke. He's seen the best and worst of the world and takes both in stride. Lately, it seems like every city he rolls into is suffering, sometimes a flood, other times a fire. When he closes his eyes, he can hear every heartbroken soul cry for help. But when he set foot in Ulu, he saw a city rebuilt against the fire. Pete reckons if he can figure out the source of all this carnage, he can help those who need it most. So that's Ashcan Pete. Starts out with the Duke, his old hound, unique asset and 1 clue, and obviously his tokens. We'll give him a clue. Let's also read his quest. It says, powerful nightmares. You dream of those who require your help and feel compelled to seek them out. When you gain this card, place 3 random clues face up on the card. After resolving an encounter on one of your spaces, discard that clue. If there are no clues on this card, discard this card and gain the sweet dream reward. Otherwise, get barely holding on consequence. So we've got that for Ashcan Pete's quest. We've got a gate spawned here on Tokyo. We've got clues spawned on spaces 8 and 9. We'll go over to Bob Jenkins, the salesman. Ashcan Pete's the drifter. This is the salesman. He starts out with a Winchester rifle, and he begins in London. According to Bob, the secret to success as a salesman is persistence. People just need to be told what it is they want repeatedly. Recently, Bob came into possession of a handful of unusual golden coins, and Bob hopes that under some persistence he so famously advocates, it will help him to uncover their origin and purpose. His subsequent research taught him that the coins are rare and valuable, but also that some sort of curse is attached to them. Collectors refuse to touch them, but Bob is sold. He wants to know more. So he also gets a clue to start out. Let's read his quest. It says, doing business. You attempt to learn anything you can about the coins, careful not to let them become an obsession. Once per round, when you gain an asset with printed value equal to or less than the number of Eldritch tokens on this card, place 1 Eldritch token on this card. If there are 5 tokens on this card, discard this card and gain the jackpot reward. So that's how he can get the jackpot. Lastly, there is the athlete, Reedy Young. Reedy Young starts off in China, Shanghai, China. Clocks do not lie. In the past, people said hurtful things to Rita. They threatened her. But since she started running competitively, Rita has only cared about the clock. Most of the time, it says Rita is faster than the rest. It says she is stronger and has trained harder. Now she competes around the world and has attracted some unusual attention. The prejudices of certain esoteric cults cannot tolerate her successes. They plan to make an example of her, but they will have to catch her. And the clock says they cannot. So that's Rita Young. Let's see what her quest is. Her quest says, tough prejudice. When times have been tough, you have kept your head high for sure. It was just people before, but people can be a monster of a sort anyway. This is your time. When you defeat a non-monster during a combat encounter, place that monster on this card. Then, if the total toughness of the monsters on this card is 10 or greater, discard this card and gain the comeback reward. So maybe we'll send Rita right off to fight this Servitor of the Outer Gods with a 3, and she'll be on her way to get those points. Next up, we will go ahead and read the Apocalypse Nigh. Anxiously, you study the walls of your apartment. Hundreds of newspaper clippings surround a heavily marked calendar, multicolored threads connecting each article to a corresponding date. 22 years have passed since the last occurrence. 22 years and 9 months. This is going to be the big one. You can feel it in your gut. The world is not prepared. After resolving setup, if Shudmill is not the Ancient One, place 1 Eldritch token on each of the spaces 2, 5, 8, and 11 of the Doom track. So 2, 5, 8, and 11. 2, 5, 8, and 11. Place 1 Eldritch token on space 14 of the Doom track. Oh, no, that's something else. Then the lead investigator discards one gate on the space of his choice, or each investigator gains 1 talent. Oh, so we can discard this gate, but we'll keep the monster. So we can discard the Tokyo gate. So that's already closed. Great. During the game, if Shudmill is not the Ancient One, Doom advances a space to Eldritch token, resolve the disaster. Okay, so we're going to resolve disasters on these Eldritch tokens. And then I believe we're going to start with shuffle the disaster and devastation decks. So we've got these decks to begin with. And get those prepped. I've got I've already prepared during the fast forward part of the setup the Mythos deck, so those are set up. And then let's just see, kicking off, I believe we have to start out with Devastation token on Rome. I don't see that. Oh. Yeah, so we start out with Rome is devastated. We can start out with that mechanic. Yeah, so we'll place a card here. Rome is devastated. I guess we're going to read the Rome is devastated card to start out with. The air is thick with sulfurous fog. Judging by the fissures on the ground, you determine the source of the occult devastation must be beneath the Vatican. Each investigator on Rome loses 5 sanity. Each investigator in adjacent space loses 1 sanity. Oh, so unless he gains a curse condition, Rome is devastated. So we got Rome is devastated already, and Ashcan Pete Ashcan Pete and Bob Jenkins are also going to lose 3 sanity. So that's not great for them. So they're each going to lose 3 sanity, which they can heal up. Now it's going to make them a little bit tougher for them to get around. So we got Rome is devastated on the board, and I think that's going to wrap it up for our setup. I will get the reserve set with some cards here, and we will see you guys in round 1. So thanks for watching, and looking forward to jumping into this game. Take care. Bye-bye.